Hello, in this lecture we will see how we can schedule tasks in Linux. Just like we can have task scheduler in Windows, we do have some mechanism that we can employ to have certain jobs performed at a certain time in Linux operating system as well. And in Linux this is called as cron, C-R-O-N. And the jobs are not be called as cron jobs. So there are two types of scheduling in Linux. One of the jobs that are to be scheduled are specific to the user. For example, a user has got some task, like maybe he is having log files in his directory, or maybe he wants to have backup of his certain folders at a specific time, maybe late in the night at every day. So he can perform those kind of tasks, and those tasks will be user-specific scheduling tasks. The other tasks are system-wide schedule tasks, and only root user can perform those tasks, like maybe clearing up the temp folder. So maybe clearing the temp folder at some odd hours, maybe in the morning, or the root can perform certain log rotation functionalities, maybe in the var folder. So just remember that there are two types of tasks. One is user specific and the other one are system specific. Now, besides cron, which are the tasks that are to be run on a regular basis by a script, there is another command which is, or another utility which I should say, which is at, which does run the task, but it is only for one-time task. So we'll see how we can use that as well. And then lastly, we'll be seeing what is anacron. So it is a functionality that complements the cron feature, and we'll see how we can employ that. Now, if a user has to implement his scheduled task, he usually uses the command which is cron tab, and then we give the switch -e, which means that if there is no task, then start a task, or maybe if there is already certain task defined in the cron tab file, then edit that file. And in that file, there are a couple of things that I need to mention. Besides the actual command that you would mention in there, maybe you can mention a tar command, or maybe an rm command that remove certain files in a particular directory after such time, or maybe archive those files. Now, besides commands, and these are not just this is just a sample that I told you about, that these could be commands that you can find in there. There could be any command that you will be running on the terminal. So these cron jobs, the scheduling jobs, are just a way to run a command, any command, at a scheduled time. Now about the time scheduling, let me just clear this one, and let's just clear this portion and tell you what I mean by that. So if you are to schedule a task, you can say maybe that run this command at such time, maybe at 1500 hours, or maybe at 3:15 a.m. So it is imperative that you can define the minutes field, right? So the first field that you can define in cron tab, it is minutes, and it is the leftmost value. Usually once you open the file, you will find asterisks in there, and we'll see that in a while. The next field is the hours. So you can define at what hour should you define this is 24-hour format. Afterwards, you can define the number of the day or the day of the month. It could range from 1 to, normally this is from 1 to 30. So this is day, and then we define the month of the year starting from January, of course. Then we define month, and afterwards day of the week. So let me just point this one. This is minute, the leftmost field. This is hours. These ones are days of month, and this is month of the year, and this is day of the week. And after that we give a space, and then whatever command that we want to execute at that particular time. Now if I were to put these 5 asterisks in a file, and after that maybe tar or maybe any other command, then this would mean that execute whatever command is in front of these stars, execute it on every minute, every hour of every day of the month, and on, of course, every day of the week. And let me correct this here. This I probably mentioned that days of the months are from 1 to 30. In fact, they are from 1 to 31. So just remember that the month is taken as of 31 days. I can also mention day of the month, or rather month, as the English words. For example, January, I can write 1 for January, but I can also write first 3 letters of that as Jan. And similarly for day of the week, I can also define either 0 to 7 days. 0 and 7, they both represent Sunday. So if I were to write Sunday 0 or 7 over here, I can simply write in Sunday. For Monday, I can write MON or 1. So if I were to say that a job has to run on, let's say 15th of every month, maybe every month, and of course that would also include the day of the week. So every month, and it should run at maybe at 200 hours. So I can do that by specifying the fields as 0 in the minute value, and then 2 in the hours value, then 15 in the day of the month, and then static and static. So that would mean that on 15th of every month at 2 o'clock AM, run whatever command I want to execute. If I were to define a number of values against one field, like maybe the task should be executed at minute 1, then 5, then 10, then I can define those values by putting in commas in between. So if I were to say that a task has to be run at 1 minute, then at 10th minute, and then at 20 minutes, and then whatever the values in the hours, and then days, and then month, but then this would signify that it will run at 1st minute, then 10th, and 20th of that particular hour that we have mentioned over here. Similarly, I can also define the range. Like if I were to write 1 to 5 in the hour field, then it would signify that run that task at whatever minutes that I define at 1 hour up till 5 hours. So 1 hour and 2nd hour, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, like in the starting from the 0-100 hours in the morning or early in the night. There are also some specific values, like I can type in at and restart, and this R needs to be small, so I can type in restart instead of all these 5 values, and it would mean that once the system gets booted up and the cron jobs are consulted, then this value will be read as that a task has to be executed because the system has just booted up. One other function that is available in these fields is a slash function, which is like this one. So if I were to put this under, let's say, minutes, and I type in, let's say, 15. So in minutes, I type in /15 or static /15, then it would mean that run a task after every 15 minutes. So I can also write something like static front slash and then maybe 4. So it would mean that run a task after every 4 minutes. So the crux of the matter that you need to remember from this slide is that the syntax of the scheduling is given in minutes, and then hours, and then day of the month, then month of the year, and afterwards day of the week. So now let's go ahead and open up the terminal and see how we can schedule tasks using cron functionality. So here I'm in the terminal, and once we need to create a cron tab job or a cron job, the command to do that, and I'm first going to start off with the user specific task scheduling. So I can type in cron tab and then -e. Once we do that, I'll be able to schedule a task, and it will open up an editor window, and we can do the editing in there. But the important thing that I want to show you is that once we do that, a task gets created in a particular directory, which is at var and then spool and then cron, and after that in cron tabs. So if I do an ls over here, this directory needs to be accessed using root privileges. So I need to use this sudo. So I given a password. At the moment this directory is empty because I have not created any tasks for any of the users. So to create a task for my specific user, I type in cron tab -e, and once I do that, it says that what editor I want to use. This is saying that Nano is easy, but I'm gonna go with Vim. So I press enter and we are in. So if I bring it down all the way, it is also saying over here a little bit information about how you can use this syntax. For example, this is the command that it has shown, that run this task at 5 a.m. then every day of the month, every month, and once every week. So it will be like on Monday. And this is the command that it is running on this particular time, that take a backup of home directory, or take a backup of home.tgz and put it in home. So we can do that. We can define our own task, like if I press O over here to start editing the file, and let's just say that I want to create a file maybe on every minute and of every hour, or maybe I should put it like maybe static and then 1, and then I put in rest of the 4 stars, so that a file, whatever action I want to use, is executed at every minute of every hour and the other fields. And after that I type in, let's say, touch, and touch, oh, I need to spell it correctly first. So I type in touch and create a file in my home folder, which is home / Ahmed and / let's say name of the file, which is, let's say, cron file. Now another important thing that I need to mention over here is that once you are defining the command, you need to give in the absolute path. So for touch, I know that this command is, let me just go into editing mode. This command is available at user bin and touch. So the complete syntax is like the range of the values or time ranges, and then the command with absolute path, and then whatever arguments that we want to pass in. So I'm telling it that create a file by the name of cron file at every minute in my home folder. So let's now execute or exit out of this one, and it is now saying that it is installing new cron tab. So if I type in date, I see that it is 1653 or almost 1654 at the moment. And if I do an ls-l to see the directories, we see that at 1654 this file has already been created, and once each minute gets passed, this file will keep on getting updated. I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna start the video again after 1 minute, and let's see if this time gets updated. Alright, so a minute has passed, and now if I do ls-l, we see that indeed a new file has been created with this creation date as that of 1655. So now if I type in, let's say, sudo ls and var spool, afterwards cron, and then cron tabs, and if I press enter, or maybe just do ls over here, then we see that indeed a job has been created by this user Ahmed. Now let's also see the contents of this file by doing cat, and indeed the file is the same that this user had created. So this file will be created after every 1 minute. Now if we want to, let's say, list the current entries or list the current jobs that are scheduled, we can do that by typing in cron tab -L to find the listing of the files. And also if I want to remove any, let's just execute this command with sudo privileges. So no cron tab for root, but for this particular user, there is one, which is this one. I can type in cron tab, and for removal, I keep the switch or flag -R, and now the job should be removed. Now, just like this user specific cron job, we can also define cron jobs for system-wide services. And we can do that by defining the jobs in etc and then in cron tab. And we see that we have some jobs over here, and there's a significant difference that when you are defining system level jobs, you also need to define the user by which this job is to run. So rest of the syntax is the same. For example, this is doing a cd at every R with user root, and this is executing some commands in this etc cron.rly folder. Likewise, we have this anacron that we'll see in a while what this command does. But just remember that this run parts, this means that all the scripts in that particular folder, maybe in etc cron.rly folder or in cron.daily or cron.weekly folder, run all the scripts. So this run parts, this does that. If I show you the contents of etc and the cron.daily, so cron.daily, so these are the scripts that will be run using this run parts command. Last thing regarding this cron, and it also is true for add command that I'll just show you in a while. If I were to make, you see at the moment when I used to create cron tab for user Ahmed, I was able to do that. But if I create a file, let's say in etc and by the name of allow or cron.allow, and I put, even if I just create this file and I do not put my username in there, just username Ahmed, then it would mean that any username that is not defined in this file will not be allowed to create the cron job. Similarly, we can create cron.deny file, and it would mean that any username that has been explicitly defined in this cron.deny file, he or she will not be able to create cron jobs. The same syntax goes for add commands like add.allow and add.deny. So just remember that if at the moment there is no file, if I type in ls etc/cron, and we see that there is no file by the name of cron.allow, cron.deny. But if I were to create cron.allow, then I need to have at least one username in there, maybe myself, so that I can create the cron jobs.